Look, I have had this on my mind all week, and it is finally time to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles officially kicking off training camp. The Birds are back on the field, and Jalen Hurts looks sharp while leading a more functional offense during our first look at the 2026 season. This is fascinating because it signals a potential shift in play calling and leadership that could define our entire year. This report covers two things: what actually happened today and what it means for the upcoming schedule. There is plenty to unpack. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your city below. Let's break it down. Training camp practice notes are officially back as our Philadelphia Eagles kicked off their first summer session at the Jefferson Health Training Complex. The major news involves edge rusher Jonathan Greenard, who has been placed on the active PUP list after suffering a pectoral strain while lifting weights. Howie Roseman has assured us this is not a long-term concern, but seeing a key defensive piece sidelined on day one is always a sobering reminder of how quickly seasons can turn. Greenard arrived in Philadelphia with high expectations as a veteran pass rusher tasked with bolstering our front seven, and fans are understandably anxious to see him back on the grass. And the more I look at this, it highlights just how fragile our depth is despite the optimism surrounding the 2026 campaign. We are eager to see the defensive rotation take shape under Nick Sirianni, especially with Jalix Hunt showing early flashes against Jordan Mailata in drills. The team operated for 70 minutes in non-padded conditions, and while the offense looked more functional than in the spring, the defense remains a question mark without their anchor. We saw positive health updates for Jalen Carter and other contributors, yet the absence of Greenard leaves a void we need filled. If he is truly fine, why is the team being so cautious during these early summer installations? The coaching staff clearly values a methodical approach to prevent further setbacks, but as we watch the safety competition between Marcus Epps and Michael Carter to evolve, we have to wonder if these injury management strategies will actually leave us prepared for the physical grind of September. The biggest surprise today was seeing Jonathan Greenard placed on the active PUP list due to a pectoral strain, a significant development for our defensive rotation. This setback occurred during routine weightlifting, an unfortunate circumstance that highlights just how fragile a championship-caliber roster can be during the grueling summer training period. While Howie Roseman characterized the injury as a minor issue not requiring long-term concern, we have seen similar health scares derail momentum for veteran edge rushers in years past. Let's be real, the front office is likely holding their breath, prioritizing caution to ensure Greenard is fully available when the stakes actually rise in September. Behind closed doors, the coaching staff is undoubtedly calculating how to distribute his snaps among the younger pass rushers like Jalix Hunt, who has been turning heads with his impressive wins against our starting offensive line. It is a delicate balancing act for Nick Sirianni and his staff, who must maintain the defensive intensity established by Vic Fangio, while simultaneously protecting key assets from further physical wear. We remember all too well the seasons where depth was tested far too early, so the organization is clearly leaning into a conservative medical approach to manage this specific strain. While Jalen Carter, Makai Lemon, and Jihad Campbell are thankfully back in action after missing time during minicamp, the focus remains on keeping the veteran core healthy through these warm July practices. Managing these recovery timelines is part of the professional grind, but as Philadelphia Eagles fans, we know the true value of a healthy roster is measured by who is standing tall when the regular season schedule finally kicks into high gear. So that's the news itself. But let's dive into what this actually means for our Philadelphia Eagles as we turn the page toward August. What nobody is talking about is how these early reps serve as the ultimate proving ground for the philosophy Nick Sirianni is trying to install after a long spring of uncertainty. The immediate impact here is that the depth chart is finally gaining some necessary clarity, particularly with players like Tank Bigsby earning legitimate looks behind Saquon Barkley. We are seeing a shift where the coaching staff is prioritizing versatility, which forces our reserve players to show they can handle more than just a single role on this roster. This level of competition is critical because it forces our depth players to contribute on special teams while preparing to fill gaps during the inevitable grind of a 17-game schedule. Looking ahead toward our matchups against the Washington Commanders and the rest of the division, this heightened level of internal discipline should give us a significant edge in late-game situations. If we can maintain this focus on unity and eliminate those procedural penalties, our standing in the NFC East looks much more promising than it did just a few months ago. The transition from purely physical conditioning to these high-stakes tactical drills is exactly what we need to solidify our playoff trajectory. By forcing competition at safety and among the reserve quarterbacks, Jeffrey Lurie's squad is building the kind of functional toughness that separates contenders from the pack. We are seeing a more intentional team, and that shift in culture is the foundation we require for a deep postseason run. The emergence of Tank Bigsby as a legitimate contributor behind Saquon Barkley offers a fascinating dimension to our offensive backfield. The strongest argument for utilizing Bigsby is his natural explosiveness, which provides a necessary spark for a high-powered unit that often relies on power. By incorporating a player with his unique agility, we add a layer of unpredictability that keeps opposing linebackers guessing during crucial drives. Now, here's the thing about this situation. The inherent risk lies in the limited number of touches available for a secondary runner when you have a proven star like Barkley commanding the majority of the work. If we overextend our rotation, we might struggle to establish a consistent rhythm for our primary playmakers. Analysts around the league have noticed this shift, noting that both Dameon Pierce and other depth options are vying for those specific situational snaps as well. While some pundits suggest this backfield could become a crowded committee, I suspect that narrative is slightly overstated given our commitment to Barkley's lead role. My honest take here is that Bigsby possesses a distinct style of play that simply forces the staff to find him opportunities. While it remains to be seen if this carries over to the intensity of September, seeing him shake defenders and fight through contact provides a refreshing change of pace for our ground game. We need to keep a close eye on whether this efficiency holds up against tougher competition in the coming weeks, but for now, the addition of legitimate depth is a welcome sign of organizational strength as we prepare for a long and demanding season ahead. When we balance these opening practice observations with the long-term outlook for our franchise, a picture of a team in transition toward a more disciplined, versatile offensive identity begins to emerge. This shift, emphasizing under center play action and a broader distribution of targets, suggests that the Philadelphia Eagles are intentionally evolving to move past previous tactical limitations. Here is where it gets interesting as we evaluate the trajectory of this group. The front office is clearly prioritizing a mix of high-upside developmental talent and established veterans to ensure our competitiveness remains consistent over the next few seasons. Fans should feel genuinely encouraged by the current atmosphere because, despite the typical minor hiccups of a first practice, there is a palpable sense of unity and intentionality coming from leadership. The fact that key contributors are healthy and Jalen Hurts is embracing a more vocal, demanding role in the locker room signals that the culture is healthy and pointed toward a championship standard. We are seeing a more functional offense taking shape, one that trusts in structure to unlock our playmakers rather than relying on individual heroics alone. As we look ahead to these upcoming weeks, I want to hear your take on the running back room. After seeing his explosive performance today, do you believe Tank Bigsby has officially secured his spot as the primary backup to Saquon Barkley? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Fly Eagles fly. I'll see you in the next one.